Hello everyone from Anfield, where I've just watched Liverpool win their first Premier League home game of the season against Bournemouth, a 3-1 win in the end for the Reds, and I think an important result really to back up that draw away to Chelsea in the first game. That's only really a good result if you back it up with a win, and that's what Liverpool did here. An impressive performance at times, I think, and also good as well, because you think back to last season, they kicked it off with 2 draws and never really got going from there. So the idea they got a credible point away at Chelsea and then following it up by winning your first home game of the season, I think a really important one, and not an easy one as well. This was a win that was secured in pretty testing conditions as well. A poor start from Liverpool, you have to say, to the game. They were poor in that first sort of 10-15 minutes, and then once they got going again, got the noses in front, they lose Alexis McAllister to a red card that for me was a really unfortunate one, a very harsh one. So they were really tested in this game, but to come out 3-1 winners, comfortable winners against a side who were coming into this, they've got a new manager this season, they've got that new manager bounce that you get sometimes as well, and they would have wanted to come here and show that they're going to be a real threat under Areola, but Liverpool weren't standing for it. They pushed it out and really sort of worked hard to get that 3-1 victory, and a deserved one in the end, you have to say. Now, I just spoken then about the difficult start that Liverpool had, quite a shambolic one really, you have to say. The first sort of 2 minutes, first minute really, Bournemouth had the ball in the back of the Kop end net just behind me there. Anthony had finished after a mistake from Trent Alexander-Arnold and a mix-up with Allister, and that was a bit of a warning sign really. You thought that Liverpool would heed that, but obviously they fell behind then in the 3rd minute anyway. Semenyo again capitalising on a bit of a mix-up at the back, a loose touch from Alexander-Arnold, allowing the ball to get funneled out there, and a really good finish. But again, it was Liverpool hurting themselves almost. They were, the shambolic nature of that early performance really allowed Bournemouth into the game. You have to say the response to that, once they went behind and they settled down after the first 10 minutes or so, maybe it was a little bit to do with nerves. I thought Liverpool were really good from there. Sort of some of the football they played, particularly going forward, they looked really electric at times, and that's, you have to say, hugely encouraging. I think there are going to be defensive issues early in the season. I think you've seen in the past under Jurgen Klopp that has been an issue early in the season, is that they don't look defensively that well drilled in the early parts of the season. They're still working each other out, and that's obviously going to be the case again, particularly when you're adding in new players. Liverpool have added some new players into this team, so it's not quite that well-oiled machine that you're usually used to seeing. But if you're in that period where things are going to be a little bit difficult defensively for you, and you're not going to be at your absolute best, then the best thing you can do is score goals, and this Liverpool side already looks like it's going to score an awful lot of goals this season. Like I say, absolutely electric going forward at times, just some incredible football, and they could have won this a lot more comfortably when you think about the chances they created. So that is hugely encouraging going forward. Yes, you want to see a little bit more sharpness at the back, you want to see them tighten things up a little bit if they can, but as I say, going forward, no issues at the start of this season, look really good, and that bodes well for Liverpool. Now, in terms of just a review of the game, I kind of want to go from back to front if possible, and give you my thoughts on the players as we go through the sections of the pitch. I'll start with Allister. I thought he was a major part really of that sort of chaotic start that Liverpool made. I thought he transmitted some nervousness to his back four. He was picking out some passes that I thought were a little bit too risky, and gave Bournemouth that encouragement early doors. But after that, really settled into the game, looked his comfortable self on the ball. He's cool, calm and collected, and Liverpool need him, don't they, as a passing option at the back really, to spread teams out and to create those gaps as they move through the midfield. So, and he showed that side to his game really well as the game progressed. I thought we saw, he really grew into the game and massively improved, and he made a couple of really important saves as well. There's one from a pullback at the Anfield Road end where he was kind of straight at him, but he had to be really strong, and then one where he tips around the post late on as well. So we know how good a goalkeeper Alisson is, and I don't expect his level to dip. You'd like to see him a little bit less busy this season, but again, he showed today that he's going to be really reliable for Liverpool again this season, and really grew into the game, as I said. In front of him, again, similar to Alisson really, that start was all sort of down to them in terms of it was just individual errors, picking poor passes at the wrong time and inviting pressure onto themselves, so that really hurting themselves. So but again, like Alisson, I felt really settled into the game. I thought Van Dijk, I'm really enjoying watching him at the moment as the captain. I feel like he's given it that little bit extra. You're seeing him dive into challenges, whereas previously was always cool, calm and collected, wasn't he? He always wanted to be Mr. Cool. He'd never sprint if he didn't have to, but you're seeing him, he's really putting his body on the line at the moment. Really like the way he's playing. Kanate next to him, impressive again. He gets dragged out into areas he doesn't want to be in, but he defends really well in those situations where he's almost in that right back area. And I thought Andy Robertson, I thought you saw a little bit more discipline for him today. That's been one of the issues in pre-season, is that he's not been tight to that when it becomes a back three and Trent is pushing up. He hasn't been tight enough to them, but I thought showed a little bit more discipline today, so that's something Liverpool will want to see improvement on going forward. But a little bit better today in terms of his performance. I thought moving forward into the midfield, I thought Gakpo looked a lot more at home there than he did in the draw against Chelsea. He looked, to me, in the Chelsea game, it passed him by a little bit. He looked very much like a forward who'd been pushed into midfield, but here I thought really impressive. Some of his drives forward, we're so used to seeing that in his game, but also some of his defensive work and his use of the ball in tight areas. He does that a lot when he's a centre forward, but he did it in midfield today, and I thought it really worked, and maybe we'll see a little bit more of him in home games being pushed into that midfield, because he gives you that little bit of extra attacking threat. So really good performance from him. Allister, he's a class act on the ball, isn't he? And he works hard off it as well. I thought he was really good today again, up until the point he got that red card. Now, for me, to talk about the red card, I thought it was incredibly harsh. In the first watch, I can see why the red card comes out, because it looked like it was shins, the studs were into the shin, but you watch the replay and it's 2 feet coming together. You know, for me, that should have been overturned by VAR. You would hope at least that Liverpool have some sort of strength in their appeal, and that they can maybe reduce the match ban, because for a straight red card that could maybe be viewed as a 3-match ban, and that would be incredibly harsh. For what, for me, it could have easily been a yellow card challenge. So hopefully Liverpool will overturn that. I would like to see that. And I also like to talk about in midfield, Dominik Szoboszlai, absolutely outstanding today. The clear man of the match. He's just such a class act on the ball, so creative. His defensive work is brilliant. And I'm worried to say this sometimes. I'm wary about saying it. Is that some of his drives forward through midfield were so similar to Steven Gerrard, and he has that number 8 shirt on his back, and he plays the game in a similar way. I must have to say, it's he's putting a little bit of pressure on him to say that, but I thought just a sensational Anfield debut, and I think the fans have immediately taken to him. So excited to see what comes from him after this, over the remainder of the season, because what a brilliant start that was today. Now, moving into the front three, obviously all the starting front three, Luis Diaz, Mohamed, Salah and Jota all got a goal, so that's really important. I thought Jota, he was very loose in those opening 10-15 minutes, and I think that caused Liverpool a lot of problems. He didn't keep the ball well, it didn't stick up there, and that's when they were getting turnovers, and Liverpool's defensive shape was a little bit messed up, and that's why Bournemouth were finding it so easy. I think that's one side of his game you would say you need to improve in comparison to when he starts to Gakpo up there, but obviously he always tends to get a goal. He's a deadly finisher, and I do think he did grow into the game in terms of controlling the ball and linking up and creating things, and he was the creator as well for the Luis Diaz goal as well. So a mixed performance from him, but more good than bad, I would say. Salah had a couple of chances that he missed, and we saw a little bit of that at Chelsea as well. Maybe he's not quite at his absolute top sharpness, but he got a goal here. Again, he's so threatening. He's a brilliant player, and I wouldn't be criticised too harshly really that front line, because I thought, as I said, some of the football he played today, and they look really threatening. So again, that's hugely encouraging. In terms of other positives, I've written down here the Endo debut. Very important, I think, to get him on the pitch as soon as possible, because I think you want to blood him in as quickly as possible. So the Liverpool had a chance, and he could come in that almost James Milner role as well, which Klopp has said he wants him for, is to come and help see out games. I thought he did quite well in terms of that. I've got the stats here. 14 out of 15 passes completed, which is what you want when you're trying to keep the ball away from Bournemouth and you're a man down. 1 tackle, 2 clearances, an interception and a recovery, and he wasn't on the pitch for that long. So, an encouraging debut. Hope to see more from him. Will he do enough in training this week to come into the team next week? We'll have to see. But, he couldn't have done much more today in terms of a really encouraging debut from him. In terms of the other substitutes, I thought Harvey Elliott really bright again when he comes on. He's looking he's looking wider and more built than he did at the back end of last season. He looks like he's been lifting weights in the summer, but he just looks sharp and quick. So, and his use of the ball is brilliant. So again, really good signs from him in terms of that he can contribute as a substitute. He will want to push for more starts, absolutely, but I think that's your way into the team, is every time you get the opportunity to impress, you have to take it, and I thought he really did that. Just want to talk about Núñez as well. He came on and it was usual self, bustling in behind, pace, worked his socks off, which is, the fans love him here, and you can already see that. But I think when he went off at full time, he's straight down the tunnel as soon as the whistle blew, and he didn't look quite happy. maybe he's a little bit frustrated about the fact he's not starting games, but as the manager always says, he's waiting to start in games. He's got to impress in training, and he's got options there ahead of him in terms of, Gakpo can start there. Jota started in that centre forward position today, so Liverpool have got an awful lot of options. So he's just got to keep his head down and keep working at it, and hopefully that's not a strop when we saw him go off. Maybe it's just that frustration you see from forwards. They want to be in the game, they want to be scoring goals, and he's not had that real opportunity so far this season. So just to sum up, really, I'd say overall a really positive result and a really good performance in Liverpool to build on as they find their way in this early part of the season. I think the one negative, as I said, is that Alexis McAllister red card. You really hope that Liverpool can reduce that ban or possibly avoid a ban at all, because that looked to me very harsh, and he's already looking like a really important player for Liverpool. If you can get that ban down or get the ban struck off completely, then huge positives to take from this game into next week, and a really good start to the season, you have to say.